I work with a guy whose wife drives this big apocalypse truck while he gently glides into work in a Tesla. My brain hasn't recovered. Also, tabletop Pac-Man and a pizza? Pizza Hut, I miss you. Thanks for subscribing to the show. I really appreciate it. At Bud Ford Comedy. My name is Bud like the beer, Ford like the truck. Also today, the American dream now includes Nana living upstairs. I'm emotionally confused by bodybuilders driving electric cars. Now, I've always loved driving. Don't get me wrong here. I love cars. I love trucks. I love engines, road trips. I love anything with horsepower and bad gas mileage. Why? Because I'm a dude. I'm interested in all of those things. And I work with this dude who owns a Ford Trimmer. Now, if you don't know what a Ford Trimmer is, it's an F-150 pickup with a Trimmer package. Well, in this case, it's lifted, off-road tires all over it. It's built for a man who owns at least 3 flashlights and does not trust soup. This truck looks like it climbs mountains during the week and invades small countries on the weekend. This is that kind of truck. It's the kind you buy after watching one episode of Yellowstone and going, you know what? Hell yeah, I probably need to move some cattle. You look at it and you can immediately smell gasoline, beef jerky, and sweat. Big tires, aggressive stance, suspension system designed to climb a tree. I'm looking at this thing thinking, yeah, clearly this is truck. His wife drives the Trimmer because he drives the cute little white Tesla. Now, I'm not attacking you Tesla people. I'm just saying my brain struggles with the casting. Because this dude's like 6'2", built like a refrigerator. Like a refrigerator that got into protein powder? Looks like he should wrestle alligators like for a job. This man should arrive through a cloud of dust with Metallica playing somewhere in the distance. Have you never heard Bonnie Tyler? I need a hero. I mean, that's what we should have here. No, that's not what you get. You get bzz, beep, beep, beep as he pulls into the parking spot. That's not a growl. It's not an engine. It's the sound your refrigerator makes at 2 a.m. And it messes with me every single time because the Trimmer says, I build cabins by hand. Tesla says, I have opinions about oat milk. The Trimmer says, I can cross a river. The Tesla says, your software's been updated. And I'm standing there trying to process all of it because the giant bodybuilder that did bodybuilding competition gets out of the Tesla and my brain briefly blue screens. You know, like the Apple spinning colors and whatnot. He should be driving something with recovery hooks, roof lights, truck nuts, and a flamethrower package. Instead, he's plugging in a car that looks like a big-ass iPhone. And the thing is, the Tesla is objectively fast. So here's where I'm stuck. It's a conundrum for me because it's confusion in a bucket. People like old school cars, old school people like me because we love the noise, right? That's how we grew up. Fast cars sounded dangerous. Your chest was supposed to vibrate. Windows shook. Neighbors got mad. That was the experience. Tesla? Now a car can beat a Corvette while sounding like a microwave oven. And that's unsettling. You ever see a Tesla smoke somebody in a muscle car at a red light? Muscle car, boom, 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 boom. I mean, glass packs, everything's going on. Tesla's just like printer noises, zip, and gone. That ain't natural. See, that's not right. And maybe it could be just my age, because I know that every generation gets confused eventually. I mean, at one time, my granddad thought power steering was suspicious, so I get it. Now I'm over here struggling silently with bodybuilder transportation, and that's weird, but it's life. Vehicles say something about us. That's what I think. You might not feel that way, but I do. I think trucks say, this person wants capability. Sports cars say, people want excitement. Luxury car people, well, they want comfort. Tesla people, well, they always look like they know a little something the rest of us do not, right? And this dude loves this Tesla too. Like, he's attached to it. That's the funny part. It's like one of the guys that I used to work with over at the TV station, Channel 8 in Tulsa when I was working over there. he had a van, a mom van, the good old-fashioned mom van. So I'd always joke with the man. I'd be like, so what are you going to do? Are you going to load the minivan up with your groceries or all of your music equipment and go play tonight and still have time to put the groceries in it? You'd think he'd be, fighting back, rebuttaling something. His response was, it's not a minivan, it's a full-size van. This dude talks about charging stations like a Frontier Explorer mapping water wells. You can make it to Tucson, but you're going to have to stop in Casa Grande. You ain't going to have enough water, man. Bro, you look like you should know where to buy elk meat, not lithium updates. And every time I see him climb out of that stupid thing, it catches me off guard because my brain, like I said, keeps expecting a lifted diesel truck, a camo hat, maybe a chainsaw. Instead, he exits the world's fastest coffee maker. Let me tell you something. If you walked into a Pizza Hut and found an empty table on a Friday night after a high school football game in my hometown, you should expect some kind of debauchery, witchcraft at bare minimum. Now, I'm excited. I have great news. Pizza Hut saying they're going to try to rebuild the empire. In other words, Yum Yum Brands is tired. Get out. Pepsi's like, yeah, no, I don't want any more of this. I want all of it gone. Kick it to the curb. Okay, now we have investors coming back that are going to try to rebuild the brand the way it should actually be, which actually might work. Because if you grew up going to Pizza Hut in the 80s or 90s or even the early 2000s, Pizza Hut wasn't just pizza. It was Friday night. Across the South, it was Friday night. It was after football games. It was birthday parties. It was little league celebrations. It's where you learn you can't go behind your parents at the big baseball meeting and take the money off the table and tell them they forgot it. You got to learn things, and that's where you do it. It's where the entire town gathered to eat melted cheese under dark red lighting. Kids today are not going to understand that because Pizza Hut used to feel important. It had a place in this society. It doesn't have one now, I know, but it had one then. You walked in, you could immediately smell pizza, beer, salad bar ice. Smoking section too, you could always smell that. Now, they were all like, listen, that's separate. Was it? I mean, the only thing separating me from the smoking section was optimism and a half wall. I loved Pizza Hut though. Couldn't hate on it. Those red cups are sick, but when you get old enough to finally get that pitcher of beer, I don't even love beer, but beer was so good at Pizza Hut, sitting there, eating a thin crust. Oh, my, so good. I love me some Pizza Hut. Then you throw in tabletop Miss Pac-Man and Galaga machines? Stop. If your parents gave you a quarter when you were at Pizza Hut or 2 quarters, shoot, you were financially independent. Salad bar was outstanding, not because it was healthy, but because it was chaotic. The fact was we didn't really have salad bars then. There wasn't Jason's Deli, and you might even have a Jason's Deli in your town, but there really wasn't a salad bar around. It was Pizza Hut. There was one thing you could count on in their buffet, though, the random mushrooms sitting in honey mustard dressing. That was going to be there. No one ever questioned it because it had been in there long enough to have some seniority. Now, after the football games, let me just tell you, this place in South Carolina was packed. Every table full. Everybody loud. Teachers, players, they were the ones in the jerseys. Cheerleaders, they were the ones that were half-dressed. Parents, people flirting oddly over by the jukebox. The place was community. And one night, me and my buddies and their girlfriends are all sitting around. I just got back from a trip spending time with my granddad, who was a bit of a mess. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, but he taught me some things on this trip. So I was explaining to them, and they were arguing that I was in fact wrong, that you could get away with anything in this country if you did it like you were supposed to. You did it with confidence. And they were like, no way. And I said, watch this. So I stood up. I immediately went and grabbed a table and chairs, and I carried them outside. People were in line, and I was all like, excuse me, can you move? I need to get this table outside. I didn't ask. I didn't borrow. I relocated them. like I worked at the joint, like I owned the place. Set up the whole thing like Pizza Hut's always done, patio dining outside. And the crazy part is the waitress served us right out there. Nobody stopped me. Nobody questioned it. The waitress just walked outside like, oh, well, apparently we're doing outdoor dining now. That is great. I'm going to tell you what, that changed my life. I became legendary. Me and Darren talked about that for decades. Always thought it was funny because I realized on that trip prior to that confidence is magic. If you hesitate, people stop you. But if you act like you are supposed to be there, society just keeps moving. That's how people accidentally become managers. Managers are just someone who does the same thing everybody else has done one more time and it works. That's all it is. You just got to act like you're in charge. We started using that theory for everything. We confidently went places we never should have went. Outdoor events, we just walk backstage. If you look important, carry a set of keys. That's how we do in America. Half of adulthood is simply that. Walk fast, hold some keys. And now Pizza Hut's decided they are going to recreate those stores just like they were. Red booths, stained red glass, old salad bars, the book it poster, all of that. The clock that said it's pizza time, remember? And the numbers were at the bottom and it just kept rotating backwards. I know why we love the place. It reminds us of when things felt simpler, when you could just go to a pizza restaurant and it wasn't that big a deal. Nobody was staring at their phones. You sat there for hours drinking Pepsi or Mountain Dew from red cups, playing arcade games, talking trash with your friends, laughing with your friends, making fun of the opposing high school football team's mothers. That's what we did because all that stuff mattered. Restaurants used to feel alive. Now every pizza place kind of all feels like a shipping facility. Nobody ever goes inside anymore. It's just grab box, leave building, eat alone. Pizza Hut used to feel like an event. It was an event that, oddly enough, was kind of outpriced for a lot of American families. It was expensive. The nostalgia, we miss being young, miss our friends, miss when Friday night didn't require a reservation app and a parking strategy. Or maybe, deep down, we all just want one more perfect Pizza Hut night again. One more pitcher of beer. One dinner with Darren and Lisa. One more dinner with my high school friends. Just one more game. Yeah, one more quarter for Gallagher. One more random mushroom in the dressing. And maybe, just maybe, one more opportunity to steal the restaurant furniture confidently enough for nobody to say a word, and you become a legend. Maybe that's what we want. Startup homes cost a kidney. It's kidney money, and that's not fair. And when somebody says, just save up, that's advice from another century because that's not happening. Nobody's making that kind of money. Parents now, this is interesting, are buying houses for kids, but there are strings attached. Look at that dash in the title. Don't tell me chat didn't write that. Stop. I know dashes were here before chat, but we all know that's chat. Let's not kid ourselves. I didn't grow up with my parents going, you know what, we should buy a house and cohabitate. That's not how I grew up. I grew up with, you're going to turn 18, boy, and then you're going to get a job, you're going to be in school, you're going to get out. And that's okay because birds had to get kicked out of the nest, right? It wasn't really, let us help you build equity. There wasn't any of that. There was, you got legs, you can get through college. If you want to go to college, you can stay here. But if not, you can get on out. If you were 24 living at home, people were like, he must have a gambling problem. He must go to the casinos in Vegas too much. Like we could afford to do that from South Carolina. Nowadays, kids are adding rooms. I live here, but I work with two people. I was about to say I live with two people. I don't live with no people. But there's two people that I work with that are adding rooms onto their houses for their elderly loved ones. And I thought, that's really, really cool. Now, parents are adding rooms and having their kids come back in. They are putting stipulations, but the cultural shift is people are going back home and expanding the home. Would you like to live in the West Wing with Nana? Housing prices, like I said, we know why the numbers are stupid, especially here in Phoenix. Let's put real numbers to the test. You're going to graduate from college. Let's say you're like, you know what, I want to be a teacher, and that's your lifelong mission. You feel like that's your calling. Great. Congratulations. You're going to graduate, and if you're lucky, you'll make 50 grand. Probably not the first few years, make 45, and then eventually you'll get it on up in the mid-50s. And if you're lucky, the district you're in won't just shed 300 teachers like the one that I live in just did. Well, you're going to discover at 55 in Phoenix, you can't afford oxygen. You're not going to eat. Safe houses here in the valley, not safe houses like we're peddling meth, but safe housing here in the valley if you're going to buy it. It's going to land somewhere around 475 grand. That's the adjacent communities too. Now, if that's Scottsdale, well, that's 900 grand and up. But if you're in Mesa, you can be in 475 to 500 grand. You can do that in Gilbert, Chandler. They go up a few dollars in Gilbert. People don't realize how many millionaires actually live in Gilbert. But it's going to start around 475 here, and that's wonderful if you're okay with all the cars around you having 6 cars parked on the front lawn like it's some kind of NASCAR outing. It's the neighborhood where everybody has 3 pit bulls, a trampoline with no net, and 1 couch that's permanently outside. I'm not judging, I'm just saying, if your neighbor's repairing transmissions and flip-flops at midnight, property values are going to fluctuate. It's going to be emotional. You can bank on it. And if you live somewhere that's quiet, safe, peaceful in Phoenix, now we're budgeting 675 grand. That means at 20% down, we're at 135 grand or so they're going to want down. That's a lot because the word starter home is not in any of that. And I feel for younger people too, because older generations accidentally give advice from another universe. You should just save up. Save what, Brenda? Parking fees? The math doesn't math anymore. Our parents bought houses for like 80 grand with 1 job and a whole lot of confidence. Nowadays, you're going to need 2 jobs, 2 full incomes, perfect credit. Both of you got to have side hustles, and probably one of you is coughing up a kidney. You'll at least donate in the next 5 years if you want to get a down payment built up, because who's got 135 grand sitting around? Now you're asking your parents to buy you a home or co-sign, and that's what they're doing. And they're very lucky that their parents are in that position to help with down payments and such. Now, they do have some strings, which I think is interesting. Those strings like, you're going to need to take care of me. Interesting, because once somebody buys you a house, they suddenly become HGTV inspectors too. You may not have noticed that, but they're like, oh, I am in this for 350 grand. Did you have to choose that backsplash? I mean, it's not New York subway. It sort of looks weird, but whatever. I guess we can get over it. Mama's got opinions about thermostat settings. Too cold in my room, Sonny. And the article talked about one dad who has 2 daughters, and he was okay. He signed and bought them houses, but he required them to stay within 2 miles of it. I mean, it is sweet, but it's also slightly mob boss. I mean, you can have the house, but you got to stay close. Nothing like controlling your kids, creating daddy issues and their own prison for the therapy sessions that you're going to have to pay for. Daddy controls my life. Whoa, I understand both sides, but you got to be real. I've been around ladies who have been in that situation their whole life. It's messy when mom and dad all of a sudden aren't there. But if I buy somebody a $700,000 house, I'm probably going to have stipulations too. I'm not going to have you turn my investment into a vape lounge with LED lighting. That's not going to happen. It is interesting to me that in this country, we're looking at putting multiple generations in the same house. Now, I know in Boston and a lot of areas in the country, in pockets of the country, it's pretty common, but it's not common all over the U.S. It's common in foreign lands, but not so much here. It's good to see it coming back. It's too expensive not to right now. These numbers are absolutely absurd. There's no reason to have these kind of expense numbers on homes. It seems ridiculous. People are also going to start looking at these family farms, grandparents downstairs, kids upstairs, one cousin sleeping near the toaster. I mean, that's the future. And maybe that's not all bad. I mean, Families used to stay close together. People help each other out. When you start having kids, you got support structure. Now everybody's kind of isolated. We're all financially stressed and we're pretending everything's fine on Instagram. Maybe having support nearby could be smarter. Maybe that's something we can learn. But it is funny watching generations collide because parents still think we're helping. And their adult kids are like, yeah, but now I can't buy throw pillows without a committee meeting. So there's that. It's not like these kids are sloughing off or just being bad kids and not being responsible and working. They're doing all they can. They're working, they're saving, they're doing everything correctly. Maybe not everything, but most things. The finish line just moved, and that's not right. Somewhere out there right now, there's a 27-year-old engineer with a master's degree being told, you simply need to skip Starbucks for a week and you'll have the money. Meanwhile, the cheapest house nearby cost the same as a private island did in 1987, so whatevs. Hopefully that bubble will burst soon and things will get back to somewhat normal. We're starting to see some pretty significant home price drops in Phoenix, and the surrounding areas are beginning to see $10,000 and $20,000 tumble off of these homes. It is starting to make a little more sense. My name is Bud Ford. Thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for subscribing and being a part of @Bud Ford Comedy. Have a great day.